Hello, hello, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome to SoulPet. Great to have you guys here. I'm already getting engaged in all the comments going on. All the folks waiting. We'll say hello to everybody in just a minute. You have found yourself to SoulPet. We are the channel and the community dedicated to supporting all of those who have been through pet loss, whether it's 10 minutes ago, 10 years ago. We are here to support you wherever you happen to be on your journey with pets on the other side of the Rainbow Bridge. So first of all, especially for all my channel members, just so you guys are aware, tonight's going to be a quick one. And I titled it something like just come together. I mean, it's just for us to hang out together tonight because second time in 3 months. I think it is a byproduct of having a toddler in the family that I've picked up the stomach bug. Craziness, absolute craziness. I haven't had a stomach flu in years and I get it twice in 3 months. So yeah, I'm not feeling at my best. I'm actually just pretty tired because it's been a long couple of days. But here I am because I just love doing this, and we had great meetings on Saturday morning. It was shortly after our Saturday morning meeting that that the tummy started to go rumbly. I'm looking at, sorry, I'm getting distracted by the comments. I got to pop these comments out. Hold on a second. Pop out my comment, pop out the chat. There we go. All right. It is so nice to see everybody here. And truly, if you are watching this channel for the very first time, that's something important that I want you to know is that we have a really strong community here, more than anything else, more than any of the messages that come through from our soul pets, more than any of the teachings that I share. It's our connection and our community that makes the difference. We welcome you with open arms. If you've never been to this video before, even if you're watching it and it's 5 years old, know that you're welcome here and know that you're held and that we are here to help you navigate this journey, right? Hang on a second. These comments are making me a little crazy. Okay, they seem to be stuck here. They're stuck up in the corner. That's all right. We'll just deal with it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. My name is Elaine. I'm an animal Reiki master and an animal chaplain. I do everything that is about animals. And in my private practice, I'm generally working with animals as they approach the end of life. So I work with animals and their families as they're approaching end of life. And then that just seemed to naturally turn into being able to receive messages from them on the other side. And I have since become a chaplain so that I can officially, not that I needed to do it officially, but I felt the calling, be able to guide people on this journey because grief is a heavy thing and grief over pet loss is oftentimes misunderstood, as many of this community knows. So I'm just going to say hello to everybody because in this community, everybody is welcome. Alana made a really good point in our meeting. We'll talk about the meetings that happened on Thursday and Saturday that it just feels good to have your name mentioned. And I love to do it. I love to do it, not just for that, because I just want you to know that you're recognized, that you're seen, and that I appreciate all of your comments, and I appreciate your support of each other. And I'm saying a lot of ums tonight, not sure why. Mostly because I didn't come prepared with any specific notes. I am just flying off the cuff and whatever message our animals bring through, although I did get a pretty good sense of some things to talk about this evening, including the meetings that we had. So for channel members, we had a meeting on Thursday and again on Saturday. It was a live Zoom so that we could all connect together, so that we could talk to each other, see each other, and really get to know each other more. And that was Thursday and Saturday, and it was about receiving signs and messages from our soul pets on the other side of life. And it was amazing. I got to tell you, it's what I live for. I love doing these live streams and I love having this beautiful community, but truly I love connecting with you guys in person, so to speak, even though it was via Zoom. Being able to put a name to a face and for all of us to see each other and be connected and ask questions and really practice some of the things that we talked about in how to receive signs and messages. It was really, really beautiful. So let's say hello to all of our channel members first. Okay, so I don't see Pat here again, which I will send an email, I think, because that makes me, I just want to let, also being part of this channel means that we recognize you. And Pat always starts us out with great questions, and he hasn't been here now for 2 weeks in a row. So fingers crossed, everything is okay in Pat's world. So everybody give Pat a huge shout out, even if it's just a virtual hug, and hope that everything is okay in his world. So we are going to say hello to Nico's mama, Nico's mama, Nico's mama. It's Christine, right? Christine. I'm pretty sure. Please correct me if I'm wrong with that. It's me and names. I remember the animal names, not so much the people names. Sherry, it's great to see you here. Sharon, it's awesome to have you. Kali, great to see you too. And you guys were all hanging out in our meetings this week. Z, it's also great to have you here. Hello, hello. And Kathy H. Kathy H. I don't have your email. I searched high and low for it. So if you want to send me an email about how to get in touch with you, I wanted to send you a little invite to something else outside of this group. So I couldn't find your email. Other people, I was able to get in touch with other people, but not you. So I just want you to know that. And I said hello to Kali. I said hello to Sharon and Sherry and Anne. It's great to see you. Hello, hello. And all right, I think that catches us up for the moment. Elaine, did you look up Bakpi? Oh, yes, I did. And actually, Archangel Babki, that's one of the things that came up in our Zoom calls was a visual. We had lots of really cool messages. So we worked with each other's animal companions on the other side. And one of the things that came up was Archangel Babki. And that archangel is the archangel more than anything of birds. So it is the protector and the guardian of bird life. And we all know that my husband comes to me with signs of eagles all the time. And an eagle card got drawn that night. So I totally, like, I don't need to be convinced that there was no coincidence there, that was a mistakable sign from my husband. It was about Archangel. And let's go back and say hello, Jody. It's great to see you here. Lady Leoman, it's great to see you here. Also, Lady Leoman is Cassie. And yes, Christina, Nico's mom. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Kathy. And who else have I got here that might not? Kelly, hello, hello. It is so nice to have you here. And I think that is everybody. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So Kelly, my beautiful sister-in-law, might not have been here when I announced that this is the second time in 3 months I've had the stomach bug, thanks to a toddler in the household. Yeah, it's been really, really great fun. So I plan to be on tonight for maybe a half hour, so we'll just see how the time goes and how I feel. So I want to talk about first, I wanted to tell everybody about the Zoom calls we had, which were amazing. I thank all of you for your participation. That was really, really a cool thing for us to do. And I do like to hold those every once in a while where we can get together. And then I want to talk about something that not only came up on the Zooms, but came up with a private client of mine this weekend. And when we got on the Zoom call with the private client, she said, you know, I'm pretty sure that I'm getting signs. And so I would love to know what you're hearing from my beautiful pet. But more than anything, I want to know how to do this better. And that's kind of what I want to share with you tonight, that there are things that you can do to foster your relationship. And I'm going to maybe take a little bit different approach tonight, talking about automatic writing and the way that we use their beautiful memorials and their beautiful, not memorabilia, that's not the word I'm looking for, but the way that we use their memories to help us connect with them on the other side. And I want to talk about Aloka and the dogs at the Ridgeland Research Breeding Facility. If you noticed, I did a video probably the day after, it might have been the day of, I don't remember, whenever I was inspired last week to do a video about making a connection with Aloka the peace dog, because I was looking for insight into human cruelty. I wanted to get a better understanding. I wanted to, and I know as a Reiki master what I would do in opening my heart, but the message that came through from Aloka was about forgiveness and compassion, and that forgiveness and compassion can work miracles. So when you think that there is a situation over which you have no control, you do have control. If we honor the fact that we can connect with our soul pets on the other side of life, it's only logical that we are able to impact the outcome for lives here in the physical. And it starts with our heart. You know, I talk again and again and again about heart coherence and the way to actually tap into our heart. We're going to talk a little bit more about love tonight. And as I like to say, love with a capital L, not just a capital L, but LOVE. The love, the fabric of the universe that unites everything. When we can tap into that, we can make a difference. And part of the message was that if we help one animal, we help them all. Or if we can find a place in our heart to forgive, and I do mean unconditional forgiveness. Nobody likes to hear this. Truly, nobody likes to hear this. Unconditional forgiveness. The most vilified people on the planet, and last week that happened to be those at Ridgeland Farms, at least they were the most vilified people in the US. There was so much animosity, so much anger, so much vitriol being thrown at them. I could understand why they got defensive. I think it's hard to be on the receiving end of that, even if you're recognizing that that something isn't right. How do you back down from attack? And it starts with compassion and unconditional forgiveness. Compassion is a different form of love. It doesn't mean you have to embrace them and invite them to Thanksgiving dinner. It means that you try to understand them for the people that they are, accept them for who they are, and trust that there is something greater than them and greater than you that can shift the outcome for these particular dogs. And so I did a meditation. And I shared with you guys that compassion is the answer and that unconditional forgiveness is the answer. It doesn't matter what you think of them. Sherry, you and I talked about this, that we had negative thoughts. We had deeply unpleasant thoughts about what should happen to people who raise dogs for the sole purpose of research, just to cut out their vocal cords, to test things on them. I won't go into all the details because it hurts your heart. So I totally focused this whole week, and I know that there were hundreds like me out there, hundreds like you out there, that were just saying a prayer, like a prayer that was like, you know what? I don't know what to do. I do happen to live close to it, but for most people, I live nowhere in the vicinity. I can't take one of those dogs in. It is painful to me to think of a dog being bred and used for research. So what do? You hold them in your heart and you send that compassion and that forgiveness out to the universe. And you say, I trust that there's an answer to this. I trust that somehow my connection with all the other people in the world who are united in supporting these beautiful creatures, that we can affect change. And sure enough, the change is there. 1,500 dogs are being released this week. The first 300, I believe, were Friday, possibly Friday. And there's going to be more this week, more next week. It has to go in stages, obviously, with that many dogs. The dogs are being released. And you've probably seen some of the videos on social media about the dog's first time in the grass, the dog's first time being cuddled, the dog's first time in the sun, the dog's first time interacting with each other, playing and having a good time. And it really does your heart good to know that there's a way that you can help. Even if you think that you can't possibly help, you can help. And it begins with that. So I just wanted to share that Aloka, thank you for your insights, because it really did work to be able to get those dogs free. Okay, let's see what other kinds of questions we have here, if there's any. So yeah, I don't know where Pat is, Sherry. I don't know. So we'll have to make sure that we get in touch with him, make sure everything's okay. So for those who just lost an animal, how to get past the should have and could have, something you struggled with Phoebe. I totally understand that. The what ifs, the what if I had done this? What if I had done that? I shoulda, coulda. As I look back on it now, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. I understand. I look back on the life of Jack and Lucy in particular, and there are 100 things that I would have done differently for them. But we have to, when we look at it from the perspective that each and every animal is on their own journey, they have come into our life for a reason and they leave our life for a reason. When we can get to that point and stop needing to have an answer to those questions, because the situation wouldn't have happened the way that the situation resolved itself, whether they ended up staying with us or moving on to the other side, that's part of their journey. And you did everything you possibly could. I call it doing the best you could with what you had at that moment in time. And if the decisions you made were based from love, then it couldn't be a wrong decision. And even if the decisions you made were financial, let's say this, I did a video a long time ago about didn't have the money to save the cat, because the person who reached out to me said, I had no money for the veterinary care and the vet bill was going to be so much that I couldn't afford it. And what do you do in those situations? You make the best decision possible at that moment in time. And if that meant that they transition, then they transition. Forgive yourself, because your animal companion has forgiven you also. When I talk about unconditional forgiveness, That's unconditional forgiveness. Forgiving yourself regardless of what you are holding yourself in judgment for, because you're the only person judging you. I can tell you right now that not a single person in this group is judging you. We judge no one because we've all been through this. We've all been through it in one way or another. So Sherry, thank you for asking that question. Yeah, no Pat questions today. I learned to understand it's part of the stages of grief and a normal response. There you go. Typical, healthy. Yep. Thursday and Saturday were so much fun. We did have we had really strong connections. We did a lot of different practices, and I'm going to share one or two of them with you tonight. I'm kind of feeling energized as we're moving forward, so we'll see how this goes. I'm going to share one or two of them with you here tonight, so that if you're watching this video and you, like the person who reached out to me this weekend for a reading for their dog, if you're saying, what I really need is just someone to show me how to do this. I want a deeper connection. I want to be able to do it at will. I want to be able to receive messages, not just signs. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. Okay, we're talking to Sherry. That's the brain science anyway. The brain trying to make sense of a situation that doesn't make sense. Absolutely. We want to solve problems. We want to find patterns. We want to find a way. I think when we're thinking about those questions, our mind is trying to find the path to forgiveness, right? It's trying to find the path that will tell us, oh, okay, I did the best I could. I really did the best I could. And now I can stop questioning it. I think that's why our brain keeps asking those questions on repeat until we get to that point that we don't need to question it anymore. Toddler bug. Oh my God, Sharon, it has to be. I just can't, it's beyond me to not have the stomach flu in years, to the point where I thought that like I'd gotten an iron stomach, like cast iron stomach, that kind of thing, that I could be exposed to anything. No big deal. Not true. Not true. And oddly, it came more than just with stomach symptoms. It came with body aches, chills, headache, an intense headache. It was just the oddest thing I've ever felt. So anywho, there is, why can't I keep these names at the forefront of my head? Cassie saying hello to everybody. It'll be a first for me. I'm not sure what that is in reference to, but you guys, misunderstood or worse, dismissed, right? Definitely when you are dismissed for your grief, and until someone has felt the loss of a soul pet, they don't understand. And I also try to express compassion or feel compassion and forgiveness for that too, that they just don't understand. They don't, until they have that feeling. I think I've shared the story before of who sometimes catches these on the replay, my old boss, who she and I talked about the fact that before she got her soul pet, found her soul dog, there was, and I did it as an HR person. I'm like, okay, it's a cat. Get your butt back to work. That is exactly what I felt. And my old boss and I have talked about this time and again, that how could we have ever been so unfeeling and so unempathetic? But now we get it. Now we get it. And I would change, if there's one policy, I know I've said this before too, if there's one HR policy that I could change for all companies, it would be to add pet bereavement. Because I'm sorry, you cannot expect someone whose soul pet has transitioned to the other side to return to work the very next day and act as if nothing has happened and proceed as if everything is just fine, because it doesn't work that way. Even bereavement leave for our human companions is not nearly enough time. But anywho, I digress. I love that you guys are all connecting over here. I love, love, love that. Okay, so Jody, I said hello to. Everybody's saying hi to Pat. That's awesome. Pat, we miss you, dude. We love you. Today is 1,405 days since Kai left for the Rainbow Bridge. Not as raw, but I still feel guilty. Yep, that guilt will have a way of cropping up. It's a part of the human condition because it is ingrained in us from childhood. We are made to feel guilty from early childhood. And whenever I catch myself saying something to my granddaughter that would make her feel guilty, I have to take it back, because it is so ingrained in me. Like, make a child feel guilty about their actions or their behavior, and that way when they feel that guilt, they'll know that they shouldn't do that particular behavior. So I'm working on that myself, because that's where it gets ingrained in us. Everything between, I think the saying is everything between the age of 0 and 7, or I think it was actually Catholic monks who said, give me your sons until the age of 7 and I will show you the man that they're going to be, because their goal was to brainwash them. Yeah. Okay, let's oh, Z, everybody saying hi to Z. Hey, Cheryl, it's great to see you, Ms. Nunn, your New York business. All right. Yes, Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono is what I practice regularly. Ho'oponopono is a Hawaiian practice. We're probably due for another conversation about that. I'm having an in-person Ho'oponopono workshop on May 27th. So any of my Wisconsin followers who want to come to that, it's May 27th. We are going to be talking about unconditional forgiveness and what that really means, and how to practice it. But that's not for tonight. Elaine is feeling better since starting the live stream. Yeah, right. You guys are recharging my soul for sure. Okay, where did the dogs go? Z, the dogs went to a rescue from Florida, actually came and collected them. It's called the Big Dog Rescue. There's 2 different rescues that are right now on board. They had to pay. They paid a significant amount of money in order to bring those dogs out of that, because for that research facility, it's all about the money. And that is so sad, but it doesn't matter because they're rescued. They're rescued. They went to the Big Dog Ranch. That's what it's called, the Big Dog Ranch. They brought up vans. They collected them. There's another rescue that I don't know the name of off the top of my head, and they are distributing them. They're taking them to different places throughout the country. But if you know where that one is in Florida, I think I want to say Loxahatchee, maybe. I could be wrong about that, but so, and then they'll be up for adoption. They're being socialized, they're having all their medical care taken care of, and then they will be up for adoption. Because I gotta tell you, if I could take one of them in right now, I probably would. I suspect that the lines will be long for people wanting to adopt them. There's so much about that now, which also makes me sad for the other animals who have been years in shelters and rescues waiting for their forever family. But doesn't matter. When we help one animal, we help them all. Regardless, help one animal, help them all. Find one of their new things on YouTube, and you can find links, I think, to the Big Dog Ranch and Rescue. I think that's what it's called, the Big Dog Ranch. And they'll take you, and they'll show you where they are. 700 more to get out. Yep. Okay. Did I miss somebody called Moki Colors? Play some pub grader and it won't have. Oh yeah, there we go. My friend knows the Big Dog Rescue. If it's the same Big Dog Rescue, I think so. I think they have a location in Florida and a location in Alabama, the Big Dog Ranch. And I think they're they promote themselves as the largest no-kill, crate-free, like it's an open sanctuary for dogs. And that is their specialty, which I know would be many of our dreams, right, Z? Like my dream, which is sometimes why I question why the universe has not handed me that $1 trillion lottery just yet. Because the first thing I would do is start buying up land. I would start buying up land, and I would find a way to care for those, for animals that have, and for me, it would be a lot of seniors. So I would have a senior dog rescue. Neither here nor there. Okay, some days it feels like it will never be enough. Please don't feel that way. I would implore you not to feel that way. Otherwise, we will get so bogged down. If we were to spend our day doom scrolling just about animals, let alone all the situations for the rest of the planet, whether it is people or the planet, climate, ecology, whatever, we would spin in circles. So we do what we can. We absolutely do what we can with what we have, and we can make a difference. We can make a difference. I know it. I know. Yeah, there's Moki Colors, Xanos. I don't know your name. I'm sorry. But hello, Alana. It is so good to see you. Illegalize. Make it illegal to do that? Oh, yeah. I think, Alana, that is the answer. And if I'm not mistaken, it is Maryland that just passed the first law that makes it illegal to conduct research on animals. Here's the scoop. With all that we have about AI, with as much as AI on a day-to-day basis expands and expands, I can't believe we aren't able to research procedures, drugs, cosmetics, shampoos. I can't think, I don't even know all the things that they test on animals. I have a family member who, I will just say, I have a family member who tested things on animals as part of as part of our training. And I just think that we don't need to do that anymore. We just don't need to do it, especially with all of the artificial intelligence that we have now at our disposal. Yes, Maryland, good. That is now, it is, right? Cassie, as I look at all the comments, Cassie says products for humans should be tested on humans. End of story. That was kind of the path that Sherry and I had taken during our conversation, was that, okay, fine. If you'd like to conduct breeding, then how about we breed you? And I'm not going to go there. But yes, that's what we were thinking. And we just don't need to do it anymore. With the technological advances in our, just alone in the medical field, we don't need to do it. Okay, we're going to stop beating that horse and we're going to keep moving on. Beating that horse. Where did that saying come from? We are going to stop beating that drum. And we're going to move on. Okay, so what do? I want to share with you some of the things that we talked about in our meetings on Thursday and Saturday. These were meetings in order to get, yeah, you guys are laughing. I'm going to offer you all very high-paying, rewarding jobs taking care of dogs in my animal rescue. I would love that. I would love to be the Reiki master who works there and shares Reiki with all the abandoned animals or animals who need it. I think these animals might need that. They definitely need some help with their energy, because they don't even know what it's like to be a dog. They don't even know what it's like to be a dog. Okay, as I continued on the same story again. So I was showing on these 2 Zoom calls that we had, we were practicing with each other. So everybody brought a photo of their animal companion on the other side, and we looked into their eyes, and we made a connection. And we started out small. So we did a little routine. We did a little practice. I'm not going to take you through all that. You'll have to join the next call. But we did some things that I do want to share tonight that are easy for anybody who's looking to either make a deeper connection or to make their first connection with their soul pet on the other side. And their soul pet on the other side, the first connection that you're making is not their first connection. It may be the first one that you're noticing, but they start instantly. The moment that they cross to the other side, they begin sending signs. They send signs because they want your attention, and they send neon signs because they want your attention. And still we don't see them. There could be an airplane flying across the sky carrying a sign that says Kai or Nico, and we wouldn't see it, because we're just not there. We're not in that place. But they start right away, and they don't stop until they get our attention. And then when they get our attention, it becomes an interactive co-creation kind of thing. We can talk to them, we can converse, we can mentally or with our heart or out loud have conversations with them and receive messages in return. It's a two-way street. This animal communication, or call it interspecies communication, because it can be done with any animal. I've had a communication with a bear that was deceased on the other side. I think I shared that story with you guys. Someone who killed a bear on private property, and I had a conversation with that bear who gave me amazing insights into the part of the insights that make me believe, that have created the understanding in me that trauma isn't felt the way that we think it is. We think that the animal is traumatized by the way that they cross. They're not at all, and they don't take any memory of it with them. None whatsoever. But that's also a story for another day. So what I do, if I want to make a connection, or if you want to make a connection with an animal companion on the other side, the first thing it starts with is definitely your heart. It has to be your heart. And when I say that it is the field of love that surrounds you, that flows to, through, and around you, that's what it is. And it's not the love that you feel when you hug someone that you love. It's not the hug that you feel when you wrap your dog or your cat in your arms. It is universal love. It is deep love that weaves everything together. It's the thing that brings our hearts together when something like Ridgeland Farms happens. It's the thing that brings us all together and makes us feel that connection. So the connection is with your heart. The very first thing we practiced on Thursday and Saturday was to fill your heart with love. So if you look at your animal companion's photo and just let your heart be consumed, overwhelmed, so filled with love that it creates the connection, or it doesn't create the connection because it can't be not created. It activates the connection. It makes you consciously aware of the connection. And it's all done through love. I've mentioned this before also, the telepathy tapes. The telepathy tapes where the interviewer talked to a nonverbal child, and the nonverbal child typed an answer onto the computer that said, I don't know how I do this. I just know that I love my mommy so much I can get into her mind. And that is the answer. That's the answer right there. It all starts with love. There's a couple things else that I would do, and then we're going to do a little practice. One of them is to begin studying, begin reading, begin seeing what other people have experienced. And one of the books that I happen to love, and this was also a workshop, I based a workshop on this book, not this book in particular, but on the topic of signs. This particular book is called Signs. Interesting that the second book is also called Signs, The Signs. This one is written by a medium. So she shares her experience as a medium about how we receive signs and how to use our heart, how she receives signs. So this one is by Laura Lynn Jackson. There are anecdotal stories along with some ideas for how you make the connection with any soul. It doesn't have to be animal, any soul. And it's the secret language of the universe is what she calls it. So that's from the perspective of someone who's a metaphysical practitioner like me. And then the other book, The Signs, which just most recently came out by Dr. Tara Swart. And I just want to give a shout out to Ms. Jackson and Dr. Swart to say, if you guys ever have a chance to watch this video, if I could find a way to tag you in it, I just want to let you know how much you have helped people, how much you've helped change people's lives by the books that you wrote, and the ability to share freely. In particular, Dr. Tara Swart, who puts her professional reputation on the line every time she speaks about something like this, but she explains from a neuroscientific perspective how we are receiving these signs and how we are receiving messages. She really, truly validates how it happens. And so you can read her book, not only about her personal stories, but also her suggestions for how to do this for yourself. So I would start reading. I personally have read hundreds, I would say hundreds of books on all types of metaphysical topics because I want to educate myself. I want to be able to speak knowledgeably and freely and know that when I receive a sign from an animal, in my case it's usually animals, although I'm working with my husband, Archangel Bobke. I think that's the way that you say it. I'm not 100% sure about that. Interesting thing is that Babka is a Polish word. My father was 100% Polish. So interesting. My father was 100% Polish. So interesting that Archangel Bobke is the one who showed up. But as I learned to make connections with people on the other side also, it helps to have a solid understanding of how these things happen. I'm going to share one more book with you. I have a ton of them. I just have a ton of them. But this one is another one called Real Magic. And Real Magic is written by another PhD. His name is Dean Radin. And his other book is called Supernormal. His is a little bit harder to get through because he really takes it from a scientific perspective and does all of the experiments and those kinds of things, and to demonstrate that all of these abilities are natural to us. And that if we just learn how to turn on our brain, to the right frequency, that we can make these things happen for us. But then you can always join my psychic development class if you want to. That's going to be in June. So what do? The first thing I do is start with my heart. I love deeper and more fully than anything when I try to hold an animal or person in my heart. I just let that love grow and grow and grow. And then we're going to focus specifically on animals. You can do a couple different things. So if you have a photo of them, I'm going to just give you an example. This is a photo of my beautiful Jack. He's not facing forward, so you can't really look into his eyes, but ideally you have a photo that you can look into the eyes. I love to look into their eyes, but a photo will do, or so this is also Jack. Oh, interesting. I got everything for Jack tonight. This is Jack's paw print. So I will hold that up to the camera. And when I touch any of their paw prints, I have all of their paw prints. When I touch those paw prints and I feel the indentations made by their feet, I can feel their feet. If you've ever felt, in particular, I'm talking about a dog. If you've ever felt the pads of a dog, you know what that feels like. And that is the impression that is in his clay paw print. So I like to hold my hand there and just touch it. Again, thinking about Ho'oponopono, also in the Hawaiian practice of Huna, it is a deeply spiritual held belief that all souls leave something behind. And if there's a physical piece of them, like I still have Jack and Lucy's fur packed away. If there's a physical piece of them and you hold on to that physical piece, and their fur is also with their collars, I would have brought their collars out too. It can be a picture. It can be like a clay paw print. It can be like, this is all of them. This is Winston, Lucy, and Jack all in one little necklace that I wear around my neck. It used to just be Winston, but I decided to carry all three of them with me. And if you have their collar, that's another really good one. I love Lucy's collar, still smells like Lucy. It's been 6 years and Lucy's collar still smells like her. I can hold that collar to my nose and smell it so clearly. I smell her so clearly. And as soon as I smell that, it makes an instantaneous connection. So that's why I like to use something physical to help jumpstart our brain into being able to make this connection. And then it's going to happen. It's just going to happen. But before I show you the exercise that I want to do, I want to share one thing, the importance about your mind. So if you are with me right now, I'm just going to check the comments real quick. Is there anything we can do to make receiving signs easier, or do they just happen independent of what we do? Both. So it's not receiving the signs that becomes easier, it's recognizing the signs that becomes easier. And that's kind of why I'm showing you this tonight. It's being able to recognize that, oh my gosh, I've been getting signs all along and I didn't even realize it. Your animal companion doesn't ever lose patience. I can go back and connect with Peanuts, my childhood dog. They don't ever lose patience. They don't ever stop. They don't ever find something better to do. They are available for us. So we don't have to worry about that. This group is so special, it has to form bigger. Yeah, chocolate grandma. Wait, I don't know what that is. I check the comments every once in a while, and you guys are still so funny. Get paw prints done of your pets while they're still with you. Did it with Gary Potato, made a huge difference in how I feel when I touch them. Oh, interesting. Okay, that's very interesting, Holly. I never thought about it like that. And for me, you know, I worked at a pet funeral home for a long time. For 6 years, I worked at a pet funeral home. So I'm very familiar with the whole process. And I'm very familiar with how much care is given to our beautiful animal companions in those places. And how much love is given to them. So maybe that even, I just know how much love was when Jack's paw prints were, when all their paw prints were taken. Okay, if you're with me, and you can be in a place where, and some of you have done this exercise before, it doesn't matter. You can be in a place where you can close your eyes. I want you to close your eyes. I'm going to ask you to use your imagination. So close your eyes. This is not a visualization. It's not a meditation. I'm not going to tell you to focus on your breathing. I'm going to ask you to use your imagination. So close your eyes. And I want you to imagine that someone is peeling an orange and it's right under your nose. They're peeling that orange. They're just then taking it and breaking it in half, and you can smell that orange. You smell it, you know it. There's no orange there, but you know. Oh, what a smell, like a fresh orange. Some people probably don't like the smell. I like the smell of a fresh orange. It's really pretty cool that you can get that smell. So smell that fresh orange. All right, now the orange just goes away. Just let it go. Clear your mind. If you want to take a nice breath, I'm going to take a drink here real quick. Take a nice breath, and this time I want you to smell a rose. Someone has held a rose right under your nose, and I want you to smell that. Just take a nice whiff. Maybe it comes from a bouquet. Maybe it's a rose bush that's outside your house. Beautiful rose. You take a nice smell, and you can smell that rose. The smell of a rose is so distinct, and you can call it right to mind. There you go. Now, I want you to do one more thing. I want you to hear a hammer banging a nail into a wall. Pretend that it's a Saturday morning and you're trying to sleep in, and your neighbor's banging a hammer into the wall, a nail into the wall with a hammer. Hear that hammer. hear the nail being driven into the wall with a hammer. Okay, let that one go. And now I want you to, what shall we taste? I want you to taste a lemon. So a lemon, someone has just handed you a wedge of lemon, and you stick it into your mouth and you take a bite down and you get a mouthful of lemon juice. Like it is a mouthful of lemon and you can feel it right away. Like it might be bitter, it might cause you to salivate, it might be so tart, and yeah, it just might be so bitter that you knew right away that you were biting down into a lemon, and it might make you want to take a drink of water. Okay, last thing is, so what have we done? We've seen things, we've tasted, we've heard, we've smelled. I want you to imagine the touch of a golf ball. So you hold your hand out, eyes are still closed, and someone places a golf ball in your hand. And you can feel it. You can roll it around your hand if you want. You know exactly what it feels like. You would know if you were not told what somebody was placing in your hand, and you felt all the little dimples and you felt how shiny it was and you felt the shape of it and you felt the size of it, you would know that that was a golf ball. And I want you to feel that golf ball in your hand. And if you want, you can go so far as to drop that golf ball on the ground and listen to it go as it hits the ground. And it would make a very distinct sound as the golf ball hit the ground. Okay, now come on back. Open your eyes. It's that quick. You don't have to do any breathing or anything. Open your eyes. And I would love to know in the comments if you were able to taste, smell, feel, hear any of those things. Because that is, we're going to talk about wishful thinking, because that is the power of your mind. Your mind is so strong. We're just not taught how to use it. Imagination, like love, is huge. A capital I imagination. That's how you're going to co-create some of the signs and co-create some of the messages, is by using your imagination. So Moki says, how do we know it's not just wishful thinking? Oh my gosh, Moki, it only takes once. It only takes once for a super obvious sign to happen. Another person who I talked to this week had balloons just start showing up out of nowhere. At one point, in her backyard, a bouquet of balloons blew up into the air over a fence and landed in her backyard. They're going to be so obvious and so apparent, or it's going to be like a giant shirt that says Lucy. It's going to be so obvious that you're going to know. And your first instinct is going to be, well, that was a nice coincidence. No such thing as coincidences. So one of the things that we're going to talk about is to make sure, I would recommend this anyway, this is just a little 99-cent notebook from the local market. Go ahead and get yourself a notebook, and I would call it your signs and messages notebook. And you start writing them down, even the ones you don't believe, even the ones you're not sure. Was that really a message? I always say, if you ask yourself that question, the answer is always yes. Was that really a message? So write in your little signs and messages notebook. Again, you guys know what I do. I use a copybook. This is like the closest to a journal that I've had in a long time, and my Bic pen. And I would just write down, I write the date, I write the sign, and I move on. I just leave it at that. And you'll start to trust, you'll start to see, and if you'll most likely start to see a pattern. And as that pattern evolves, then you'll know. For example, the t-shirts. Lucy has a way of sending me shirts with the name Lucy on them. Sometimes it's real small on the back of a gym shirt. Sometimes it's real big and gold on the front of a t-shirt. Sometimes it shows up for somebody else who sends me a picture and says, look, I found a Lucy shirt. They will find a way to get through to you. And if you trust that none of it is wishful thinking, that all of it is your imagination with a capital I, it's true, because you are creating it. Your imagination and their imagination, your heart and their heart are combining into one, and that is the way we communicate with souls on the other side. It's not frequently going to be words. It is sometimes downloads. Sometimes you'll get a picture. Sometimes you'll get a message. Sometimes you'll get thoughts in your mind that weren't there a minute ago that are there now. Those are the things you want to write down. And then synchronicities. Any of those synchronicities, like things showing up in your life. I had the picture of Lucy's rainbow here earlier, and I forgot. I lost it on my phone. I couldn't bring it back up again. But the day that Lucy passed, and I went home, and as soon as I pulled into the driveway, um, there was a there was a giant rainbow over the whole complex where we lived. So those are the things that you want to look for. You want to start tracking them. So that's the number one thing that I would recommend doing, is start logging it and tracking it so that you can begin to trust. And we also need, a lot of it comes down to trust, trusting our animal companions to actually get through to us, that they want to get through to us, that they want to communicate with us as much as we want to communicate with them, that sometimes they do miss their physical existence. For the most part, the physical existence is like an option for them. It's not something that they're overly tied to, but they like I know that if my Lucy could come back and have a McDonald's cheeseburger, that she would be the happiest dog on the planet. She loved them. She absolutely loved them. The funny part was that Jack loved the bun. Lucy loved the burger. So if they got to have a treat, they both benefited from that. Anywho, okay. So the first thing is to keep the journal. If you want to start receiving messages, remember how strong your brain is just from the exercise that we just did, and then have something handy of theirs. If you don't have something handy, if you don't have a blanket or you don't have a picture, it's okay, because they're going to find a way to get through to you. It just, for whatever reason, us being humans, it helps us to have some physical remembrance of them as we are trying to make this connection. But you don't need it. I can close my eyes right now and somebody could, Big Boy Jack, yep, and somebody could put a name here. SoulPet. Is it a sign of wishful thinking? Okay, got it. I think we answered that one. That's what I'm asking. Is it a sign or wishful thinking? That's why you keep the journal, because if you keep the journal and it repeats again and again and again, so rainbows, all right, let's take the rainbow. A rainbow could be, you're like, okay, so when it rains, there's a rainbow. I mean, rainbows can appear and we have no control over the rainbow, but I have seen rainbows for Lucy, Jack, Winston, for a dog for whom I did the final, I guess you'd call it final rites, but a dog who's crossing to the other side, who I was transporting down to the funeral home. I've seen it again and again and again. I've had people send me pictures of their rainbow. I've seen it so many times when an animal companion crosses to the other side that a rainbow just appears. And so if I would log all of those instances, I would see a distinct pattern that would tell me, no, it's not wishful thinking. Your animal companion will make every attempt to make sure that what you are receiving tells you that it's them. So there are a couple of things. We talked about this before, but it's worth repeating. And I think this comes from the Signs book. I don't remember. Anyway, there are default signs. Default signs seem to be things that are easy for our animals to manipulate, easy to get our attention. So it's the feather floating down. Somebody just sent me a picture of a feather. It's the feather, Jody, right? It's the feather that floats down. It's the repeating numbers that don't just show up, but they show up on a license plate, on your odometer, on your phone. It's not just waiting for the microwave to turn to 1111. It's because it shows up in the oddest place, on a receipt at the store. It's going to just show up repeatedly again and again and again. It's how we knew that 222 was a sign for my husband, because we all started seeing 222. My daughter would send me every time she saw it, and then the more we saw it, the more our brain picked up on it. That is called your reticular activating system. It's part of your brain that filters all the information around you. It filters the information because if we were actually able for our brain to be wide open to notice everything going on around us, we would not be able to function. So sometimes how I get distracted by the comments, think about yourself being completely distracted at all times. So if I didn't filter, right now I would see that there's a clock ticking on my television because I forgot to turn it off out in the living room. There's a tree blowing really strongly out this side. There's a car that just made an illegal left turn. So all of these things would be in my field of experience and I wouldn't be able to even function. It's why some people can't function, because they're unable to filter that way. So your reticular activating system, when you focus on that, like if you got pennies started showing up for you. So a penny showed up here, a penny showed up there, and you're like, Is that really a sign, or am I just like hoping that it's a sign? Start logging every time you see the penny. And then look for like even more, like look for the year on the penny, or look for, look for the date on the penny. Think about where you found the penny. Those are the kinds of things that are going to help you decide whether or not it was wishful thinking or whether or not it was a real sign. All right, so I hope that helps. Okay, let's flip the page here. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say about love and why we activate love in our heart by looking at a picture or holding on to something from them is because love is the energy that can't be destroyed. Souls can't be destroyed. Energy itself. Everything is energy, and energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It always is, it always was. I know that there's no way to wrap our little human brains around that. I understand that when you think about what infinity really means, it could make you go a little nuts. But love is the binding fabric of the universe. It can't be destroyed. We can access it. And when we access that love, we can start to connect with and communicate with our soul pets on the other side. And it's not just pets. It can be any soul who's on the other side. So what I would suggest doing is first, get yourself this journal. If you're going to sit down, it should be at a time when you can really get yourself quiet, where there's no distractions. You turn off your cell phone, be someplace that's nice and quiet. It would be wonderful if you could be outdoors. Outdoors, it's a great place to be in nature, because I swear the trees have a way of bolstering that connection. There's something about trees, and I haven't quite gone down this road with you guys yet, but there's something about trees. I love that. Oh my God, 222 is always around me. 222. Yeah, there you go, Kelly. Yep. There's something about trees that goes deeper than we think. Yeah, I think I'm going to do my water experiment tonight with the number 222 and see what happens. Okay, start keeping your journal to log when the signs come so that you have a record of them. And then what I would suggest is what I call automatic writing. And there's different definitions of what automatic writing is. Channeled writing, it might be. Automatic writing might not be the right term for it, but it is writing, receiving messages inspired by your soul pet or any other soul. So what I do is I write something. So again, this is my copybook and my little pen. I call it a copybook. Isn't that something that's a throwback to Catholic grade school? My little copybook, and that had to be the exact right size or else you got sent home. My copybook, my big pen, my number 2 pencil. And you would start just by writing a word. Get yourself someplace quiet and just call your animal companion to mind. Love on them so much that your heart just swells. And then write a word, like the first word that pops into your mind. Write that word, whatever it might be. For whatever reason, I have popcorn on my mind. I always have popcorn on my mind. I love popcorn. I write the word popcorn. You might write one word. You might write 2 words. You might write a phrase, like a phrase might just come into your mind, and you're going to write that down. Turn off the TV, turn off the TV. Seriously, turn off the TV. So I would write, turn off the TV. And then just do that for the first couple times. In your quiet space, in a quiet time, nobody needs to know. I think there are so many people out there who journal on a regular basis that don't tell anybody anyway. Just nobody needs to know what you're doing. And you just write that phrase. And then when you feel that you're ready to receive an actual message, you just free write the things that come into your mind. Don't worry. Don't question. Don't think about, wait, I wonder if this is real. Don't, just write it. Write it with abandon. Write it without judgment. Write it without filters. Just write the things that come into your mind. And you just write and write and write and write. And those are the messages that you are receiving from your animal companion on the other side. And you can do this. I've often written at the top of my paper, Jack, tell me what it is that I need to know today. Or let's say like I'm starting a new course or something. I might say, Lucy, tell me the first step that you think I should take. What's the first thing I should do today to make sure that we jumpstart this in the right direction? And she might say, do a video, Mama, do a video. So I will take that right now as an answer from her, that I just asked that question and that's what she gave me, do a video. And, and that's what you do. And that's how you begin to get a message. And that's how you begin to keep track of the signs. Okay, let me just check my notes to make sure I've covered everything. Start small. Oh, then get specific. You can get as specific as you want, and you can co-create those signs. How are we doing for time here, guys? Oh, look at that. I had no trouble at all getting through this. I thought for sure I was going to make a mad dash to the restroom. TMI, right? Okay, so where was I before I got so far off track? Oh, get specific. Get specific in what it is you're communicating about. So if you are wanting to co-create a sign, for right now, I have been specific with Lucy. I haven't seen it yet this week, but I have not written it off either. I don't write it off ever. I have asked her for another shirt. I just want another shirt that has her name on it. And so I write that down. Lucy, today, let's create that shirt. And here's the thing. She creates it instantly. I just don't see it instantly. The creation of that sign is instantaneous. It takes them no effort whatsoever on the other side. I'm pretty sure that by now they've all got some really good practice in. They've been working with us, at least in this group, they've been working with us for a long time. They've got some practice in. I know as soon as I say, Lucy, t-shirt, your name on it, please, that it's done like that. But then it's up to me to be consciously aware. So I use my reticular activating system, and I tell myself that throughout the day, I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for a t-shirt that says Lucy. And that's how it happens. I think I got off the topic of the reticular activating system, but that's how it filters the thing. So when you start to focus on something specific, it will filter on that. I've mentioned before about yellow school buses, about pink trucks. You can you can train your mind to be consciously aware. And then the biggest, most challenging thing about being consciously aware is being consciously aware. We go about our days on autopilot. We go about our days on default. We get up, we eat, we go to work, we drive, we pick kids up from school. We do the same thing day after day after day, rinse and repeat the next day, rinse and repeat the next day. And the next thing you know, we are not consciously aware of how we're living our lives. It's why some people are so dang miserable. We got to snap out of that pattern. And to do that, you are the one who has to do some of the work. You've got to do some of the work. For me, I mentioned that I set an alarm on my phone every day at noon. In fact, I had to change it recently because the noontime alarm was happening and I was just hitting dismiss. Remind yourself that you need to be consciously aware. And for me, it happens a lot when I'm driving. The next thing you know, I'm at my destination and I think, I don't even know how I got here. Like I was on autopilot. So then it says to me, okay, it's time to be consciously aware. I'm going to be aware of how I feel, aware of what I'm speaking, aware of my environment. I'm going to be completely aware, and I'm not going to let anybody disrupt my awareness. So when people do try to, or when situations, circumstances try to get in the way, they won't, because you are consciously aware. And when you're consciously aware is when you start to see those repeating signs and when you're able to get messages. Okay, let me take one more look at comments and then we're going to wrap this up. Do I see a Susan here somewhere that I didn't say hello to? I see somebody saying hi, Susan. Yoshi on 1111, adopted and passed on 1112. So you see those numbers and other angel numbers too. I love the angel numbers, Alana. Those angel numbers, and I'm glad your phone, why not? I prefer to write. I like the act of writing. There's something about the written word that translates it a little bit clearer for me, but using your cell phone, using your laptop, whatever you want to do to write those things down. No CO inky dinks. Oh no, yeah, right. There are no coincidences. As Esther Hicks likes to say, they are co-incidents. So it's an incident that just happens time and time again. It's a synchronicity. That's what they are, synchronicities. And we are noting them. No such thing as time in reality. That's true too, Z. So there is no such thing as time. For our beautiful animal companions on the other side, time on the other side, I think, is so completely different than what we know here that there's no way to wrap our mind around it. And we won't understand it fully until we get to the other side. That's also why things will only continue to get better, because more and more people, like in this beautiful community, that wake up to our natural abilities that we are born with, We then take steps to improve the quality of our life. We take steps to optimize our mind, body, and soul. We, for example, I know for certain how provided that I am aware at the time of my own passing, I know what I want to do. I know how I wish to be present. I know what I want to think because I want to be able to actively transition. I know that's a morbid subject for some people, but my animals have taught me that. And so the more people who transition to the other side and then step into a role which helps even more people, it's just going to get better and better and better and better. And we're not going to have to deal with all the BS that we are dealing with in this current time space reality. Okay. You'll probably see it again. That's, I think that's the Lucy t-shirt. Of course, the rainbow made me cry. Oh, hi, there's Susan. When something bizarre happens, I ask my higher self, really? Yeah, I've had that conversation too. And higher self, your more complete self, the version of you that resides, the greater part of your soul that still resides on the other side, that was there to greet your animal companions. So know that they weren't alone. And not only was there someone there to greet them, it was you. That blows some people's minds also. I have often said to myself, I've said to my father, I've said to my husband, I've said to my dogs, I've said to my grandmothers, I just call her grandmother now. It's both grandmothers have become one. I say, grandmother, really? I mean, really? This is not what we want to happen. This is not what we want. I even thought that about the dogs, those research dogs. In my heart, what I said was, no, this is unacceptable. This is no longer an acceptable thing. For whatever brought us to this place, it needs to change now. And I just put that thought out there, and it impacts. I know that it does. Okay. All right, my friends. Oh, Elaine, did any moments jump out to you from the Zoom calls? Oh, Collie, I would have to go back and take a look at my Zoom because I wrote a lot of it down. There were a whole lot of things. The oracle cards, the eagle, the babki. I can't remember them all, but there was so much that stood out. We practiced working with our clairs, so all of our clairvoyance and clairsentience, and I'm sorry, I don't remember. I'd love to know from you guys. There was something that really stood out. I was on the first Zoom with all intentions of being on the second, but forgot my father had errands to do. Okay. Yeah, Collie was on the Saturday morning call. Yeah, and I actually, now that I am looking at all the people attending, I don't see Sarah here tonight. She was on the Thursday night call, but okay, neither here nor there. All right, my friends, thank you so much. Yep, there you go. Sassy with the double rainbow 36 hours after she passed. No rain. That's it. When the sky is bright blue and there's a rainbow. That's when you know that it's not just wishful thinking also. Okay, my friends, thank you for bearing with me tonight. It was a fun, interesting topic that I had no idea where it was going to go, and I think we ended up making something really cool out of it. So Z says, I never see 222, but you could see something else. Those nuns were at a tight ship. Oh my gosh, I just scrolled up to comments and that's where I'm seeing more of these. You have those nuns with a tight ship and your number 2 pencil, your copybook had to be black and had to be, oh, okay, enough. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here to support each other. I will see you all again next week. And until then, may animals light your way. Take care, everyone.